My name is Helen, and I am 28 years old. I live with my mother, younger sister, and grandmother. My grandmother has been sick and unable to leave her bed for a long time. My mother takes care of her all day and hardly ever leaves the house. Because of this, I have become the main provider for our family. I work several jobs to earn money and pay for our needs. Life is hard as I juggle work and house chores, but without my help, our family wouldn't manage. When I come home from work, I always see my mother, Lauren, taking care of my grandmother. Mom, you've worked hard today. Welcome back, Helen. You must be tired from work, she says with a gentle smile. But I can see the dark circles under her eyes. Mom, are you getting enough sleep? I ask. I keep watching over Grandma, so it's hard to rest, she replies with a small laugh. But this is my duty. She is always kind and dedicated to our family. My father passed away when I was 13, and since then, my mother has raised me and my sister, Rachel, all by herself. Rachel is 11 years younger than me. My mother worked late nights to support us, so she didn't have much time to care for us. My grandmother helped raise us, cooking our meals and looking after us. I also helped take care of Rachel. After high school, I didn't go to college. Instead, I started working right away to support my family. But when my grandmother became sick and needed full-time care, my mother had to quit her job. Now, we rely on my income and my grandmother's small pension. My mother often apologizes for not working, but I just want to do my best for our family. I worked hard for my family, but my younger sister, Rachel, who was in high school, didn't understand our struggles at all. She didn't have a part-time job and spent most of her time with friends, barely studying. Seeing her like this made me feel uneasy. While I worked and helped with house chores, and my mother was exhausted from taking care of Grandma, Rachel lived in her own world. Rachel is still in high school. We should let her enjoy herself, my mother would say, never scolding her. It's true that high school is a fun time, but I wished Rachel understood our family's situation better. One day, as I came home, I heard a loud voice at the entrance. Mom, are we out of money again? I want to go to a party with my friends. Rachel shouted as she walked in, her heels clicking on the floor. Rachel, didn't I already give you your allowance this month? My mother asked. It's not enough. And Mom, you only care about Grandma. You never pay attention to me, Rachel complained. My mother gave a small, troubled smile. I'm sorry, Rachel, but we don't have extra money right now. Rachel clicked her tongue in frustration and threw her bag down. Ugh, this is the worst. Why was I even born into this family? I frowned at her words. Rachel, do you even realize how lucky you are? I asked.
What?
That's easy for you to say, Helen. You have your own money because you work. If that's how you feel, why don't you start earning money yourself? Rachel glared at me but soon pulled out her phone and started typing, ignoring me completely. My mother kept spoiling her, and after Rachel graduated from high school, she neither worked nor went to college. Instead, she spent all her time going out with friends, wanting a life full of luxury. She often talked about her love for Italy after visiting there once. One day, I'm going to open an Italian restaurant in Maldives, she would say. One day, she excitedly asked our mother, Hey Mom, if I open a restaurant in Maldives, will you help me? My mother looked surprised but smiled. That sounds wonderful, but Rachel, you need money to open a restaurant. It's fine. I'll figure it out somehow, Rachel replied with confidence. I sighed. Rachel, opening a restaurant isn't that simple. Shouldn't you start by working and gaining some experience first? Rachel scoffed. Helen, you have no dreams, do you? Dreams? I never really thought about them. My only concern had always been supporting our family. But Rachel's dreams seemed far from reality. Then, a few days later, something happened. One weekend night, as I was walking home from work, the streets were dark, with only the dim glow of the streetlights. Suddenly, I checked my phone and saw several missed calls from Rachel. A bad feeling crept over me. With a sigh, I called her back. She answered right away. Helen, please. I need your help. Her voice sounded panicked. In the background, I could hear a crowd of people. Rachel, what happened? I asked. I got into trouble. Please come pick me up. Again? Rachel had been going out every night, and her drinking was getting worse. It wasn't the first time she had gotten into trouble while drunk. Where are you? In front of the downtown club. Please hurry. Reluctantly, I drove to where she was. When I arrived, I saw a few police officers standing outside the club. Rachel was sitting on the ground. Her hair was messy, and there was a scratch on her cheek. A man in a suit was talking to the police with a serious look on his face. One of the officers turned to me. Are you her sister?
Yes.
What happened? It seems she argued with this man over some drinks. Things got heated and she ended up hitting him, the officer explained. I looked down at Rachel. She avoided my eyes. No, that's not it. I just drank too much, she said defensively. But you did hit him, didn't you? The officer asked firmly.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Rachel mumbled. She was arrested on the spot. When I got home, my mother was waiting in the living room, looking anxious. As soon as she saw me, she rushed over. Where's Rachel? What happened? I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Rachel, she was arrested. My mother's face went pale. Arrested?
Why?
What did she do? She asked, her voice shaking. I explained the situation briefly. My mother sank down onto the couch, speechless. My Rachel, she whispered in disbelief. Then she quickly asked, She's not hurt, is she? Watching her, I felt a heavy weight in my chest. This wasn't over yet. Luckily, Rachel was released the next day since it was her first offense, and the man didn't press charges. The police gave her a strict warning, but Rachel didn't seem to care. Make sure this never happens again, they told her. But her face showed no guilt, only annoyance. Even after coming home, she didn't reflect on what she had done. Instead, she kept making excuses. It wasn't a big deal. I was just unlucky. My mother gently told her, Please don't do this again. But she didn't scold her much. Watching this, I felt exhausted. I couldn't hold back my anger. Why wasn't Mom scolding Rachel more? Rachel didn't seem sorry at all, and that only made me more upset. Enough already. The only reason you weren't punished was because the man didn't press charges. But things could have been much worse. Rachel rolled her eyes. So what? It's not a big deal. I couldn't take it anymore. Not a big deal? If that's what you really think, then I give up. Next time, it could ruin your life. My harsh words finally made Rachel go quiet. Helen, don't be so angry. Rachel is sorry, isn't she? My mother said with a weak smile, placing a gentle hand on Rachel's shoulder as if trying to calm things down. Mom defending Rachel only made me angrier. Sorry? She's not sorry at all, I said, crossing my arms. I've told you before, Rachel's drinking is a problem. Every time she drinks, she yells and causes trouble. I've been embarrassed so many times. Do you remember how many times I've had to pick her up? Can't she stop already? Shut up. I don't want to lecture, Rachel mumbled, slumping on the sofa and refusing to look at me. The next morning, I was still upset about everything that had happened. But Rachel? She sat at the table eating breakfast, scrolling on her phone, as if nothing had ever happened. Seeing this, I sighed. No matter what I said, it never seemed to get through to her. A heavy emptiness filled my heart. Hey, Mom, can you lend me some money? I need to relieve some stress and go shopping, Rachel suddenly asked. I froze. What? Are you serious? Money? Rachel, what are you talking about? I just need a change of scenery, she said casually. Helen, this has nothing to do with you, so stay out of it. Nothing to do with me? Don't joke around, I snapped, glaring at her. Have you already forgotten about yesterday? Do you even understand what you did? Oh, be quiet. It's over, isn't it? Rachel answered, barely looking up from her phone. It's over? You think this is just over? Rachel let out an annoyed sigh. Helen, you're so stubborn. I clenched my fists in frustration. I couldn't believe her attitude. Mom watched us, looking troubled, her eyes darting back and forth. Mom, please. Rachel reached toward her. I saw Mom hesitating, slowly opening her wallet. No. I stepped forward and stopped her. Don't do this, Mom. Stop giving Rachel everything she wants. She hasn't learned anything from what happened. Helen, you're so cold, Rachel muttered, still tapping away on her phone. I stared at her, feeling completely drained. Would she ever change? I didn't say anything else. I realized that talking more wouldn't change anything. As the days passed, my grandmother's condition got worse. She had been in bed for a long time, but now she was barely eating, and she seemed more confused. Grandma, how are you today? My mother asked gently, holding her thin hand. My grandmother slowly opened her eyes. Lauren, she whispered, her voice weak and fading. Mom, shouldn't we take Grandma to the hospital? I suggested. But my mother shook her head sadly. I've talked to the doctors many times. They said it wouldn't be surprising if she passed away soon. Hearing that, my chest tightened. Was her condition really that bad? I had convinced myself she was still okay. That night, my grandmother passed away quietly. My mother held her hand, crying. I just stood there, frozen in shock. The next day, we held the funeral. Relatives and neighbors came to say their goodbyes. My mother wept as she looked at my grandmother's face, unable to move for a long time. I stood beside her, silently watching. After the funeral, we returned home. The house felt empty, colder without Grandma. My heart felt heavy. My mother sat on the sofa, exhausted. She stayed quiet for a long time. I sat next to her, both of us lost in silence. The warmth that Grandma had always brought to the house was gone. Now, only emptiness remained. Meanwhile, Rachel sat on the other sofa, looking annoyed as she played on her phone. Hey, I wonder if we can get any donations, she suddenly asked. I stared at her in shock. What? Well, if there's money coming in, I kind of want some, Rachel said casually. Rachel, that's enough, my mother snapped. It was rare for Mom to get angry, but Rachel just shrugged. Calm down, it was just a joke. No need to get mad. After Grandma's death, my mother became distant. She sat around doing nothing, just lost in thought. Losing Grandma was unbearable for her. They had always been close, and Grandma had been her biggest support. But now, with Grandma gone, my mother seemed lost. Slowly, she started depending more on Rachel. Every morning, she would knock on Rachel's door. Rachel, what are your plans for today? It was as if she needed Rachel to give her direction. Even when she went out shopping, she always invited Rachel along. I don't want to go alone, Rachel. Can you come with me? At first, it seemed like a simple request, but over time, my mother started depending on Rachel too much. If Rachel refused, my mother would look disappointed. But whenever Rachel spoke kindly to her, my mother looked relieved, as if she had been saved. Seeing this made my heart ache. I understood that my mother was lonely, but I felt uneasy about how much she relied on Rachel. As time passed, the mood in the house became heavier, and misunderstandings started to grow between me and my mother. But Rachel didn't seem to care. Hey, Mom, it's about time you cheered up, Rachel said casually, scrolling through her phone. There's no point in being sad forever. Hey, why don't we go to Maldives? I frowned. What are you talking about? Well, Grandma is gone now, and you don't have to take care of her anymore. Mom, you've been stuck in the house for so long. Wouldn't it be nice to live in Maldives and feel refreshed? Rachel smiled, as if she had come up with the best idea in the world. I couldn't hold back my anger. Rachel, stop joking. Grandma just passed away a month ago. So what? Staying here will just make Mom sad. Besides, this has nothing to do with you, Helen. Nothing to do with me? I'm the one supporting this house. Ugh, whatever. Mom, what are you going to do? My mother didn't say anything at first, but I saw doubt in her expression. My heart sank. Was she seriously thinking about Rachel's idea? That night, I collapsed into bed, exhausted. There was too much on my mind: home, work, Mom, and Rachel. I could barely sleep. 3 months passed since Grandma's death, and my emotions had started to settle. But one evening, when I returned home from work, something felt strange. The house was too quiet. Mom, I called out. No answer. I checked the entrance. Neither my mother's nor Rachel's shoes were there. As I walked into the living room, I noticed something was wrong. The furniture was still in place, but all of my mother's and Rachel's belongings were gone. It was as if they had never lived here. Then I saw a letter on the table. To Helen. We are moving to Maldives. Rachel only has me now that Grandma is gone, and I want to be there for her. Thank you for everything. I am grateful to you. Please take care of yourself.
Mom.
I stood there in silence, unable to believe what I had just read. No, this had to be a joke. Mom had chosen Rachel over me. After everything I had done, working hard to support the family, helping her take care of Grandma, she still left me behind. She abandoned everything to move to Maldives with Rachel. A wave of anger and emptiness hit me all at once. My mind was spinning. That night, I lay awake, unable to sleep. My emotions kept shifting: anger, sadness, frustration. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't close my eyes. My mind was filled with thoughts, growing louder in the silence. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a notification. Suspicious attempts to withdraw from your cash card have been detected. I immediately opened my banking app. There were several failed attempts to withdraw money from my account that morning. I knew right away it was my mother and Rachel. They had even tried to take my money. Shaking with anger, I quickly called the bank to block my cash card. Just to be safe, I also suspended my credit cards. Are they stupid or something? I muttered. For the first time in a while, I felt a strange sense of calm. I had already suspected this would happen. A while ago, my mother had suddenly asked to borrow money. It felt odd, but I couldn't refuse her, so I reluctantly gave her the money. At the time, I didn't think too much about it, but something felt off. Then one day, I saw documents spread out on the table, papers about properties in Maldives. There were photos of houses and apartments, along with detailed descriptions. At that moment, I realized the truth. My mother and Rachel were planning to move to Maldives for real. Memories of everything that had happened rushed through my mind. Maybe the money she borrowed was for this. Maybe there was always another reason behind it. That's why I had already changed the settings on my cards to block overseas use. Now, in Maldives, my mother and Rachel would find themselves with no money. I sat down and thought. There was no reason for me to stay in this house anymore. Neither my mother nor Rachel needed me. It was time to end this. I started packing my things, ready to leave and start a new life. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother. I hesitated for a moment, but decided to answer. What do you want? Asked coldly. Well, actually, there's something I need to tell you, Helen, my mother said, her voice trembling slightly. What now? I said flatly. I know about the money, but Rachel just wouldn't listen, she said, her words unclear. So what? You chose Rachel over me, I said firmly. It's not like that. I just thought moving to Maldives would be best for Rachel. She wanted to open an Italian restaurant there. My mother's voice sounded confused. That's enough, Mom. I took a deep breath. You've always spoiled Rachel. Have you forgotten how hard I worked? My voice shook, but I didn't stop. I had to say it. I had worked so hard for my family, yet this is what I got in return. I saw all the times you tried to take money from my account, I said firmly. My mother stayed silent for a while. Then, in a small voice, she finally spoke. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, I replied. Then, without another word, I hung up. Almost immediately, my phone rang again. It was Rachel. Still irritated, I answered. Helen, please help me, she begged. I don't have enough money to open the restaurant in Maldives. Do something. I sighed. Figure it out yourself, Rachel. You always rely on Mom and me. How long are you going to keep acting like a child? If you need money, get a job.
I didn't hold back.
There's no reason for me to help you after what you did. Rachel was silent for a moment. Then, she finally muttered. I didn't mean it like that. It's too late for excuses, I said coldly. This is it for us. I hung up and, without hesitation, blocked both my mother and Rachel's contacts. As I packed my things to leave, a deep feeling of bitterness filled me. It hurt to be betrayed by them. But despite the pain, I knew what I had to do. I had worked so hard for my family, but in the end, they only saw me as a source of money. It was time to cut ties. And so, I left the house and started a new life. At first, living alone felt strange, but I quickly found peace. My mornings were quiet, and after work, I had time just for myself. Before, everything I did was for my family. But now, I had the freedom to focus on me. I started studying for career growth, and even worked toward getting certifications I had always been interested in. Every day felt fulfilling, so different from my old life, where I was always burdened by family responsibilities. A few months later, I got a promotion and my salary increased. With no one taking my money, I could finally save and spend as I pleased. I traveled, bought things I liked, and enjoyed life in a way I never could before. This is truly my life, I thought with satisfaction, sipping my coffee. But then, curiosity got the better of me. Even though I had promised myself not to care, I couldn't help but check social media. I found Rachel's account. Her latest post stood out in bold letters. Help! Life in Maldives is tough.
Can't find a job.
I don't know what to do anymore. Her timeline was filled with desperate messages. I couldn't help but laugh. In the end, they couldn't handle anything on their own. They must have finally realized that they had depended on me all along. A message popped up on social media. Helen, please help. It was from Rachel. The confident, carefree Rachel I once knew was gone. Now, her words were desperate, almost tearful. But I felt nothing. The old me would have rushed to help without thinking.
But not anymore.
Without even reading the full message, I deleted it. As I closed the screen, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was no longer their backup plan, no longer someone they could use when things went wrong. They had made their choice. Now they had to deal with the consequences. I set down my phone, took a slow sip of my coffee, and murmured to myself, they made their bed. Now they have to lie in it.